She ignored every warning and brought home the dangerous Doberman. What happened one terrible night with her baby left everyone speechless. 3 months earlier, Laura Grant was driving home from her nursing shift. Rain hammered her windshield mercilessly. Her headlights caught something moving behind the gas station. A massive shadow lurked near the dumpsters. Laura pulled over against her better judgment. She stepped out into the storm. Water soaked through her scrubs instantly. The shadow took shape in the darkness. A huge Doberman crouched between trash bags. His black coat gleamed wetly. His eyes reflected her headlights like burning coals. He was enormous. Probably 90 pounds of pure muscle. The dog stared at her without moving. His gaze was intense and unsettling. Something about those eyes made her shiver. Laura reached into her purse slowly. She pulled out half a sandwich. The Doberman's nostrils flared at the scent. She tossed the food toward him carefully. He devoured it in seconds. His powerful jaws crushed through the bread effortlessly. But then something unexpected happened. The massive dog lowered his head submissively. His tail gave one hesitant wag. Laura saw fresh cuts on his legs. Old scars marked his neck. Someone had hurt this animal badly. As a nurse, her instincts kicked in. She could not leave an injured creature in the rain, even if it terrified her. "Come on, boy," she whispered uncertainly. The dog approached with silent, predatory grace. Each step was calculated and controlled. He moved like a trained killer. But when he reached her car, he waited. He did not jump in uninvited. He looked at her for permission first. Laura opened her car door hesitantly. The Doberman climbed into the back seat carefully. He sat perfectly still, watching her in the rearview mirror. Those eyes never looked away. Not once. The drive home took 20 minutes. Laura kept glancing at the mirror nervously. The dog's stare was unwavering and cold. She pulled into her driveway finally. Her husband Mike appeared at the front door. His face went white when he saw her passenger. "Laura, what the hell is that?" "A dog who needs help," she replied weakly. Mike backed away from the car immediately. "That is a Doberman. Those dogs are bred to kill." Laura opened the rear door carefully. The dog stepped out with fluid power. He stood nearly waist-high beside her. His presence was intimidating and overwhelming. "Look at the size of him," Mike whispered fearfully. "Think about Ethan sleeping upstairs." Their 2-year-old son was completely helpless. Laura pictured his innocent face. Doubt crept into her mind. "We cannot keep this animal," Mike insisted firmly. But something in those dark eyes held Laura captive. Intelligence burned there. And something else. Something she could not identify. "His name is Jax," she announced suddenly. "He stays." Mike stared at her in complete disbelief. The next morning brought immediate resistance. Laura's mother called before sunrise. "You brought what into your house?" she shrieked over the phone. "Those dogs snap without warning. They attack children constantly." The mailman refused to deliver packages. "Not with that beast prowling around," he muttered through the fence. Mrs. Henderson from next door marched over immediately. Her face was flushed with anger. "That animal does not belong here," she declared harshly. "This is a family neighborhood with small children." "Jax is part of our family now," Laura replied defensively. "When you maul someone, their blood is on your hands." The warnings came from everywhere. Laura's sister called repeatedly. "Dobermans are different from other dogs," she pleaded. They were bred for protection. For violence. Their instincts are hardwired for aggression. Laura's father was even more direct. Those dogs turn on families without warning. I have read dozens of news stories. Children get killed by family pets every year. But Laura had made her decision. Despite everyone's fears. Despite her own growing doubts. Jax settled into their home with disturbing ease. He claimed the hallway outside Ethan's bedroom. He lay there for hours. Watching. Waiting. His intense stare never seemed to soften. Mike grew more nervous every day. "Look how he watches Ethan," he whispered to Laura. "That is not normal dog behavior." It was true. Jax followed the toddler everywhere. His eyes tracked every movement. Every gesture. Every sound the child made. The obsession was unsettling and constant. Ethan seemed oblivious to the danger. He would toddle near Jax fearlessly. The massive dog would stiffen when the child approached. His muscles would tense visibly. "He is just protective," Laura insisted desperately. But even she was beginning to wonder. The incident started small. Jax would position himself between Ethan and other people. His body language was threatening. His ears would flatten against his skull. When the pediatrician visited for Ethan's checkup, Jax blocked the doorway. He stood motionless like a living barrier. His lips pulled back slightly. "That dog does not want me near your son," Dr. Morgan observed quietly. Mike's anxiety reached a breaking point. "This is exactly what everyone warned us about," he said. "Jax is becoming territorial over Ethan." Laura watched Jax more carefully after that. The dog's behavior was definitely changing. He seemed more alert. More focused on the child. More dangerous. Neighbors began crossing the street when they saw them coming. Children were forbidden from playing nearby. "That dog is a ticking time bomb," Mrs. Henderson told anyone who would listen. "Mark my words. Something terrible is going to happen." The pressure on Laura intensified daily. Her family staged an intervention. "Choose between that dog and your son's safety," her mother demanded. "You cannot have both." Mike presented her with statistics. "Doberman attacks on children happen every month," he said. "The breed accounts for 9% of fatal dog attacks." Laura felt the walls closing in around her. But something kept her from giving up on Jax. Maybe it was stubbornness. Maybe it was denial. Or maybe it was something deeper she could not explain. Before we continue, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us grow and share more shocking stories like this one. 3 weeks later, Laura's worst fears began to materialize. She was folding laundry in the basement. Ethan played upstairs in his room. Jax was somewhere in the house. Suddenly, she heard a loud crash from above. Then Ethan started crying. But these were not normal tears. These were screams of terror and pain. Laura dropped everything and ran upstairs. Her heart pounded against her ribs. She found Ethan sitting on his bedroom floor. He was surrounded by broken toys. A heavy wooden shelf had fallen nearby. Jax stood over the child protectively. His massive body blocked Laura's view. "Get away from him," she shouted instinctively. Jax turned to look at her. Something flickered in his dark eyes. Something that made her blood freeze. Was it guilt? Or was it satisfaction? Ethan had a small cut on his forehead. Nothing serious. But the shelf could have killed him easily. Did Jax knock this over? Mike demanded when he got home. Laura could not answer. She honestly did not know. But the doubt was eating her alive. The incidents multiplied after that. Ethan would fall downstairs while playing. Jax would always be nearby, watching silently. Toys would break mysteriously, always when Jax was in the room. He is testing boundaries, Laura's sister warned her. Predators do this. They probe for weakness before they strike. Mike started sleeping with their bedroom door locked. I do not trust that animal anymore, he admitted. Laura found herself watching Jax constantly, looking for signs of aggression, searching for proof of her family's warnings. The dog's behavior grew more disturbing daily. He would stare at Ethan for hours without moving. His eyes would track the child's every gesture. When Ethan cried, Jax would approach immediately. His movements were swift and purposeful. Laura never knew if he was coming to help or harm. The uncertainty was driving her insane. Child Services received an anonymous tip. A social worker named Janet Wells arrived for an unscheduled visit. We have received concerns about a dangerous animal in the home, she explained professionally. Janet observed Jax's behavior around Ethan carefully. The dog positioned himself between them constantly. His body language was tense and territorial. That animal shows signs of resource guarding, Janet noted in her report. The child may be in immediate danger. She gave Laura an ultimatum. Remove the dog within 72 hours. Or we will remove the child. Laura felt her world collapsing completely. Everything everyone had warned her about was coming true. That night, she made the call to animal control. Her hands shook as she dialed. I need to surrender a Doberman, she whispered into the phone. The appointment was scheduled for Friday morning. Thursday night arrived like a death sentence. Laura could barely look at Jax. Tomorrow, he would be gone forever. But first, she had to survive one final night. Ethan went to bed at 8 o'clock. Laura read him 3 stories. He fell asleep clutching his stuffed elephant. Sweet dreams, baby, she whispered softly. Jax settled into his usual spot. The hallway outside Ethan's bedroom door. He rested his massive head on his paws. But something was different tonight. The air felt charged with electricity. Tension crackled through the house. Laura and Mike watched television downstairs. Neither of them could concentrate. Both kept glancing at the ceiling. Maybe we are doing the right thing, Mike said quietly. Laura nodded numbly. But her heart was breaking. At 11:30, they headed upstairs. Laura checked on Ethan one final time. He slept peacefully under his dinosaur blanket. She looked at Jax lying in the hallway. This would be his last night guarding their family. I am sorry, she whispered to him. Jax's ears twitched. But he did not lift his head. Laura and Mike went to bed. Neither of them slept well. The house felt different. Heavy with unspoken dread. At midnight, everything changed. The baby monitor crackled to life. Static filled the speaker. Then came a sound that made Laura's blood turn to ice. A low, menacing growl echoed through the receiver. It was coming from Ethan's room. Laura bolted upright immediately. Mike was already reaching for his phone. The growling continued. Deep and threatening. Then came another sound. Ethan's terrified screams. She ran toward the stairs. Her bare feet slipped on the hardwood floor. She caught herself and kept running. The growling grew louder as she climbed. Ethan's cries became more desperate. This was it. This was the moment everyone had warned her about. Jax had finally snapped. Laura reached the top of the stairs. Ethan's door was closed. The growling was definitely coming from inside his room. Her worst nightmare was happening. Right now. Behind that door. She grabbed the handle and threw the door open. What she saw inside made her scream. But not for the reason she expected. The room was filled with smoke. Thick, black clouds poured through cracks in the walls. Heat radiated from the floorboards below. Ethan stood in his crib crying. Smoke swirled around him dangerously. He was coughing and gasping for air. And Jax was not attacking him. Jax was crouched beside the crib. His massive body shielded the child from the worst smoke. He was growling at the encroaching flames. The smoke detector in Ethan's room hung useless from the ceiling. Its red light was dead. Without Jax's warning growls piercing the baby monitor, they never would have known. "Oh my God," Laura gasped through the thickening smoke. She rushed to the crib. Her lungs burned with each breath. Jax moved aside immediately to let her reach Ethan. Laura lifted her son from the crib. The toddler wrapped his arms around her neck. His small body shook with coughing fits. Mike appeared in the doorway behind her. "The stairs are blocked," he shouted. "Fire is coming up from the basement." Orange light flickered beneath Ethan's bedroom door. The hallway was becoming impassable. Heat was building rapidly. They were trapped on the second floor. Jax moved to the window immediately. He reared up on his hind legs. His front paws scratched frantically at the glass. Laura understood instantly. She fumbled with the window latch. Her hands shook from adrenaline and smoke inhalation. The window finally opened. Cool night air rushed in. Laura gasped gratefully. "Help!" she screamed into the darkness. "Fire! Help us!" Jax began barking with earth-shaking volume. His deep voice carried across the entire neighborhood. The sound was urgent and desperate. Porch lights began flickering on. Neighbors emerged from their houses. Someone was already calling 911. Within minutes, sirens wailed in the distance. Fire trucks raced down their street. Captain Rodriguez arrived first. He immediately spotted them in the second-story window. "We have civilians trapped upstairs," he radioed. The ladder truck extended toward their window. Firefighter climbed up quickly. His breathing apparatus fogged in the cool air. "I can take the child first," he called out. Laura handed Ethan through the window. Firefighter cradled the boy carefully. They descended the ladder slowly. Mike went next. Then Laura climbed down shakily. Martinez reached for Jax last. The dog climbed through the window obediently. As they descended the ladder together, Laura felt overwhelming relief. Her family was safe. The dangerous dog had saved them all. The fire department investigation revealed shocking details. The electrical fire had started in the basement. It spread through the walls silently. The smoke detectors on the second floor had all malfunctioned. Battery corrosion had disabled them months ago. Without that dog's alert, this entire family would have perished, Fire Captain Rodriguez announced. The dangerous Doberman had saved 3 lives that night. Mrs. Henderson approached Laura at the hospital. The same neighbor who had demanded Jax's removal. Tears streamed down her weathered face. "I was so wrong," she sobbed. "That dog is an angel." The social worker, Janet Wells, amended her report immediately. "This animal demonstrated extraordinary protective instincts," she wrote. He poses no threat to the child whatsoever. All those months of suspicious behavior suddenly made sense. Jax had not been stalking Ethan. He had been guarding him. When toys broke, Jax had been preventing accidents. When Ethan fell, Jax had been trying to catch him. The dog's intense focus was not predatory. It was protective. Every warning growl had been a guardian's alert. Every territorial stance had been a shield against danger. Laura had misread every single sign. 6 months later, the Grant family held a celebration. Not just for surviving the fire, but for learning an important lesson about judgment. Ethan's 3rd birthday party filled their rebuilt backyard. Children from the entire neighborhood attended. Everyone wanted to meet the famous hero dog. Jax wore a special collar that read "Guardian Angel" in golden letters. Children petted him gently. He accepted their attention with patient dignity. The mayor presented him with the city's highest honor for animal bravery. For extraordinary courage and devotion beyond measure. But the greatest reward came from the family he had saved. "Thank you for not giving up on us," Laura whispered to him. Jax's tail wagged with pure happiness. The night that was supposed to prove everyone right had instead proved everyone wrong. The dangerous dog they all feared had become their salvation. Sometimes our greatest protectors come disguised as our greatest fears. Sometimes the very thing we are warned against becomes the thing that saves us. Thank you for watching. If this incredible story touched your heart, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us share more amazing stories of courage, love, and the power of second chances.